Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
To Turmeric and Tequila. I'm so excited to be with you here today. We've got an incredible conversation coming at you. You know I'm a longtime health and wellness human and a lifelong athlete, so we're going to be talking about all things GLP-1s, weight loss, and bariatric surgery. I didn't even know these two things could be in the same arena if they're the same conversation, but we're going to unpack it today because there's a lot of truth and mistruths, misunderstandings that are flying out there. But before we jump in, I want to give a special shout out to our sponsors, Colorado Clownfish Swim School, swim lessons and water safety training for all ages. They believe in life skills through sports, so go train and waterproof your family today. Our very own Declan James watches. They are local and veteran owned, and 10% of all their proceeds go back to the Navy SEAL Foundation. So a lot of my health and wellness humans go support our causes. I'm so excited because this is an incredible guest. I'm going to read her bio, which I don't always do.
Oh, geez.
Before I do, I know. Let's welcome the Dr. Betsy Dovec to the T&T podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Kristen. I'm super excited.
Yes, girlfriend, I do a lot. I'm high energy, but you are doing a lot more. And so I got to give you your flowers before we even start. I mean, the work, the family, like you are disrupting things on so many levels and you're very transparent about it. So before we even get in, I want to give you a gold star from one female to another that you're doing a lot. You are actually doing the balance.
I mean, I am trying, but no, I appreciate that. Yeah, you're out there hitting the pavement every day too. But yeah, we're all just trying our best here.
It's so real. So I do want to read her bio because it's so incredible. And I'm going to say a couple extra things that you have to dig to find out. But she's the #1 female weight loss surgeon globally. And we are going to really, like I said, talk about why you should think twice about trying GLP-1s. But she left her 7-figure hospital job and took a $12 million loan out to found Body by Bariatrics, the country's first fully integrated surgical center and wellness facility offering bariatric surgery, medical weight loss, and cosmetic surgery all under one roof. She's now on a mission to make life-changing weight loss care accessible, affordable, and deeply compassionate. As a mother of 3, a surgeon, CEO, and bold entrepreneur who bet everything she had to create her business, she fully believes that bariatric care is a life-saving preventative tool and is not a last resort option. So this was just some of the topics. And again, if you know me, I don't usually do these, but her topics hits home so well. It's surgery versus GLP-1s, why willpower isn't enough, what 6,500 plus surgeries have taught her, the emotional and spiritual side of weight loss, sleep versus bypass versus revision, fighting misogyny in healthcare, a new model for healing obesity. So these are just some of the few things that we're going to talk about because I want to talk about the weight loss. I want to talk about the emotional and mental toll. I want to talk about entrepreneurship. Before any of that, I want to know about Betsy as a young human. Was this in the cards very early?
No, absolutely not. So I know you can't tell, but I'm 6 foot tall. So I'm very, very tall. I was tall at a young age. And I was always, I think, a little awkward. I grew up in West Virginia. So I grew up in a small steel town outside west of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I was very shy and I don't know. I didn't really even know what I wanted to do. To the point where I was once doing dancing and I was on the stage at the big performance. And like I said, I had like this weird rat tail thing. Like it's just quite the image here. And I was dancing and I looked down in front of me and I realized I was kind of dancing so far stage right that I was seeing curtain in front of me. And I'm like, oh my, is that like by design that like you can't even see me? So I just didn't know. I was a science and math kind of geek. I liked ultimately when I went to college, I liked the GI tract. And then I started to I wanted to go to medical school to be a pediatrician and I realized I didn't really like kids. So that wasn't going to really work out for me. And then I just truly fell in love with surgery. That was love at first sight. There's a certain personality, I think, that goes with every type of a medical specialty. And when I got in there, it was just this magnetic pull. And I realized like, oh no, I don't want to like surgery because it's brutal. The training, the residency, the long hours, 80-hour work weeks, it's just not fun. And like you said in my intro, there's a lot of misogyny and gender kind of inequalities and different things like that still in 2026. And so I was very reluctant. I got a lot of advice, especially being from West Virginia, that, why would you want to do this? Like, don't you want to be a mother? Don't you want to have a family? And I think I just stayed unapologetically committed to my gut, and I stuck with it, and we'll get into the rest. But that's kind of my background. I was just an awkward dork from West Virginia.
I mean, I think we can all identify in some capacity about just like not fitting in. And it's such a, those early years, middle school years, like there's just always something,
Ooh.
I think, for every single human being where you don't fit in. It's weird years, like your brain isn't caught up with your body and it leaves marks forever. And I think that's some of the mental we don't ever unpack. That's why I love how you put in that emotional and mental conversation alongside some of these intentional changes as we get older, because I'm always here for the physical change. I've had ACL surgery, what have you, and I'm here for cosmetic surgery as well, turmeric and tequila. But we don't talk about the mental side and the physical of it. So why don't you, we will get more into the mental, but GLP-1s are all the rage. I told you many of my
Yes.
fitness humans, maybe humans you would think would not need them, they don't, have 5 pounds to lose, but not are getting on it. And then there's people that do need them. They've worked great. Tell us about what GLP-1s are. Let's break it down really simple. What bariatric surgery is, and then the difference when you're approaching, utilizing either one.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. GLP-1s is everywhere. There's just a brand new pill form of
Yep,
Wegovy,
I saw that.
which so I'll break it down to what they are first. So typically injectables, there's two main types that are on the market right now. And they're both basically hormonally and metabolically working to diminish food noise, some of that obsessive thoughts that you might feel around food, like what's for dinner, it's late at night, what's in my kitchen, what's in my fridge, I need a snack, I need something to take this edge off. I think a lot of that, this kind of psychological warfare around food and eating is something that is beyond a lack of willpower. I think that really is one of the biggest things that's so great about the meds is it helps with that. It also helps to slow down your gastric emptying, and it slows down your GI tract so that you'll feel fuller with less amounts. So you're going to eat less, of course. It helps to really work with insulin sensitivity improvement, which is one of the big things behind diabetes and all the metabolic disorders that it all has a play in. So it helps in a lot of different aspects of your body and your life, and better sleep and better sex life and more confidence and quality of life and all those sorts of things. So there are two different types of these GLP-1s that are out there right now. There's semaglutide, which when its brand name for the FDA indication of diabetes is called Ozempic. And then when semaglutide is for weight loss is called Wegovy. So these are both available injectable weekly injections, or now the Wegovy is also available in pill form. And then there's tirzepatide. Tirzepatide for diabetes is called Mounjaro, and tirzepatide for weight loss is called Zepbound. And tirzepatide, in addition to being a GLP-1, is also a GIP agonist. So basically, it works two different ways to help you to lose weight. So Zepbound, Mounjaro, tirzepatide are actually better. So there's a lot of reasons why people take these. In my experience, yes, I'm a bariatric surgeon. Yes, I'm board certified in obesity medicine as well. But I have never, and I've treated thousands of patients over the last decade plus, and I've never had somebody that was clinically thin or underweight who was trying to abuse these medications, at least
Okay.
coming to my clinic, because it would just, I think, be surprising. I think that there is an obesity issue. I do think that obesity is a chronic disease. I know that it's been now endorsed by the American Medical Association. And I do think that the medications are a very, very, very valuable treatment.
Yeah.
So who does the best? The best are those who have a BMI or body mass index less than 30. And I think the higher your BMI is, the less effective the medications are going to be. And if you were to discontinuing them, even after experiencing weight loss, the higher your starting BMI, the more likely and almost a probability that you're going to gain your weight back. So if you have a higher BMI, there's a lot of components that go into it, genetics, lifestyle, just a lot of different hormonal and metabolic influences. If you have a higher BMI, then I would always start the conversation honestly with surgery, because it is the most effective tool that exists to lose weight and keep it off.
Okay. Well, I have a couple questions because I wanted you to break down the bariatric surgery too. Because my exposure to that, even being in health and wellness, is primarily my 600-pound life, which
I know.
I'm assuming you have a whole hot take there, which I'm here
Sure
for.
do.
And I read some tea there as well, and just the lack of emotional side that's supported there. But before we do that, I want to know, what about the humans as an athletic human? I always get nervous, like when you're muting the noise and you really need it. I'm here for medication. I like the Eastern Western approach of things, but usually it's like turmeric tequila. It's a whole human approach. You need, a modality, and everybody's different. When it's humans that are, fit and healthy, and they're used to, like, for me, like when I train and I'm hungry, like I use that as a micro of like, I really need to fuel. How do you handle the people? And I'm guessing the people that don't want to go to a clinic, they're probably ordering it on the internet. You're probably not seeing those people, but like the ones that are like micro dosing, or they want to lose those last 5 pounds, like what's your conversation around the humans that might just be ordering it or using it for that last minute, and you're starting to mess with like muting the hunger in some of these natural instinctual situations?
Oh boy. So I know that, yes, if you look at pop culture, if you look at celebrities, you'll
Hmm.
see Kelly Osbourne. She
Megan
is
Trainer.
like, again, really thin, getting thinner, disordered eating, anorexia.
Hmm.
It's like, or anorexics getting more anorexic on it. I'm a bariatric surgeon, so a lot of the patients I see are really suffering on the other end of that spectrum. And if you look at the statistics, I'm sure you've seen the map of the United States where it has all these colors of states and they're getting like darker and darker and darker, it signifying that more and more and more obesity is still on the rise, even despite this new treatment, relatively new for weight loss, for that matter, coming onto the scene. So there's still the epidemic of our lifetime is still obesity.
Hmm.
And you are in Colorado, you're in one of the healthiest states, you are surrounded by people that are in health and wellness and who you are. So you are just you're almost so far, it's just not part of your day-to-day life that it's hard to almost say like, okay, those who are really on it, like they need a lot of help. So I think in the scenario you just provided, like those who just need to lose a few pounds, hey, I have this big event, a wedding, I just want to like microdose just to get that 2, 3 pounds off. Like, I mean, sure, you could get a compounded version, you could do that, but I think by and large, that's really not, if you look at the overall kind of distribution of weight across the country, that's not the majority. It isn't. By
Right.
2030, is going to be over half of Americans are obese. So you're really just looking at I don't know, and I know a lot of your listeners are hearing this and like, oh, this isn't applicable to me, but there probably was a time at some point where maybe again, you're a woman, like, okay, maybe you had a baby, you're postpartum, and there's weight loss and you kind of lose yourself in that. Maybe you're perimenopausal, maybe you're trying to become pregnant, maybe you're having a hormonal, surge, you're on your period. All these things, there's a lot of reasons where, in every season of your life, you might not feel like you're quite yourself. You just need a little boop, push in the right direction.
Mhm. And would you suggest that? Do you think it's an okay tool to use that, or what is your
I
opinion
mean,
there?
if you look at the FDA indications for the medications, it's a BMI of 27 to 29.9 with weight-related issues, joint issues, acid reflux, of course, diabetes, high blood pressure, sleep apnea. Or if the BMI is over 30, those are the technical indications for it. For me, the only time I really think it's really helpful for someone who has a BMI that's in the normal range or lower is somebody who's had bariatric surgery, who's done
Okay.
tremendously well. They've lost over 100 pounds. And then ultimately they experience, unfortunately, a little bit of regain. And then they see the scale go to 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds. They're freaking out because they have finally reclaimed their lives. They've lost the weight and now they're seeing that and they can feel that. So just to get back to that good, healthy set point that they experienced at their lowest, I do think that post-bariatric patients getting a little touch of it, I think it's incredibly effective to help them to really just achieve their goals.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. Well, and we've seen now like Serena Williams is a spokesperson. I can't remember what brand it is.
Yes.
We start to see athletes get in this. So it is. I hear you, and I love that there is some standards around the BMI and whatnot. It's not just like a one size thing for everybody. But is there any like long term research or statistical analysis or whatnot of like long term effects? Like, does this impact some of your brain health or normal systems and signals that are going on? Like, is there any long term effects around using this medication, either short term and or long term?
So there's a lot of now we have several years of kind of data of looking at patients on the meds versus placebo, looking at the short term, looking at what happens if you were to discontinue the med. The thing that's very striking is, again, almost 100% will experience regain. And that just
Wow.
shows you right there that okay, like you put the tools in place, like okay, this is how I eat clean, this is how I work out. Okay, now I feel more motivated because I got the weight off with the kind of the help of the medication. And then you stop it, even still doing all the right things, yet uh-oh, the scale's going in the wrong direction again. So I do think some people need it. Other things are, of course, if you're not really focusing on protein, you could have some hair loss, you could have some muscle wasting. So it's really important to do resistance training, weightlifting, CrossFit. I know a lot of your listeners are into that. Those things, plus adding these things all together as this kind of, overall thing, yeah, I think you're gonna be great. But if you were just to do the med in isolation, you could have some serious issues. And there's also the short term of, especially in the early stages when you just started, there are some side effects. So there are some things, particularly GI tract or gastrointestinal tract, like nausea. Nausea is the number one issue people have. So you do have to start very low dose. You have to go very high. If you are a super responder, meaning you lose a lot of weight pretty easily with them, then you're probably going to be super sensitive, which means you're more likely, in my anecdotal kind of experience with our patients who are on it, to having more side effects like nausea, maybe even vomiting, maybe even some acid reflux, regurgitation, because things sit in your stomach longer and can reflux back up, or even constipation. Because typically the diet, you want to focus on protein, a higher protein diet, it can be very constipating. So you really have to, cheers, get all your fluids in. You want to drink at least 2 liters a day. You want to make sure that you're moving around, healthy gut health, probiotics, all of that good stuff, I think is also really important to add into the treatment plan with the medication.
Okay. Amen. I'm you're the doctor here, but I could not advocate more for the whole human approach. And if you are considering this, go to a professional situation, have a consultation, and see what's going on. If you're a health and wellness human and used to eating well and moving around and whatnot, that's great. But fixing one thing, I always say it's like going to the gym without talking about the nutrition. You're only going to get one side of it. And some of these longer term situations like the gut brain connect, I know we could go down a rabbit hole here, and then if we're, women over 40 and we're talking about perimenopause, menopause, and then you're messing with hormones and not fueling correctly, what you eat really does matter with your brain and your attitude and the mental health. But on the flip side, like when it's necessary, it's necessary. So on that note, let's talk about this whole human approach you're really great about. I love that you started your own clinic and you started to facilitate some of the mental health and the conversation that's, how are we actually walking through this world? And I think this is a hot take from my own self, where our female doctors can really thrive because we have that maternal instinct and you really do care about the human. Not that our fellas don't, but there's just something added we can bring as women. Tell me about how you really started to lean into, the advantage of being a woman in this space and bringing that mental health and spiritual conversation to, weight loss and major life changes.
My goodness, that is why I bet the entire farm on this idea is
My
because
girl.
I was an employed surgeon for over a decade. And as an employed, you're an employee. This
Yeah.
is not your company, this is not your brand, this is not the way you do things. You have to fit that. That's the exchange for the compensation, the whole thing. You get it. And I always felt like I couldn't practice medicine the way I wanted to. Like we all, I would think in medicine go into it because you want to help people and all of that sort of thing. And I couldn't, I felt like I was so greatly restricted, I couldn't do that. And so we started Body by Bariatrics. And by the way, we're virtual. So we can see anyone in Colorado, anyone here, there, all across the world. And we do that virtually since COVID. I haven't seen a patient in person, believe it or not, in the clinic
Wow.
setting since 2020. But I have a team of entirely females. And my partner, her name is Dr. Diana Lane. She is a female bariatric surgeon. I have a dietitian who's a registered dietitian who did all of her things. Her name is Hannah Schuyler, and we have a podcast together as well. And I thought she was my employee number one. because even though it might seem like, man, don't you think you should have someone to answer the phone? I'm like, I'll answer the phone, but I want to make sure that Hannah's on board to the nutrition aspect is like just incredibly important. I feel like women have a more white glove approach too. We're more sensitive, more empathetic. We get it. We've been there. We feel our bodies. We feel it when our clothes don't fit quite right. And I just wanted that tone in that culture. I have a bilingual physician assistant who's just dynamic and charismatic and incredible human as well. So, yes, we have a comprehensive approach, not just dietitian. We have a whole program. It's called Project Reset that we want all of our patients who are on medications to take part in. That includes they get small group therapy with a woman named Laura Grabo who meets them every Monday night, and it's all topic led. So we talk about emotional eating. We talk about what is your trigger? Why are you in the refrigerator? Why are you doing this? Is your yes sabotaging your journey because you're putting everybody else in front of your own needs? Here are some real cognitive behavioral therapy strategies and takeaways that you can apply so that you can actually make changes and put all this into action. You know what you want, but you just can't get there. We help you to kind of go in the right direction. And then we also have some motivation, movement, emails, like all the things that people really want. I think sometimes we think like, oh yeah, I want a AI-based health coach. And you're like, I guess I have a love affair with ChatGPT. There is that like side hustle. But I mean, other than that, like you want a human connection. And I think the biggest thing that we do is we have community, we have support groups, we have a very active Facebook group with 13,000 members in it. We meet people where they are and we have real conversations and we hear their stories and their struggles and we help them to get to their goals.
Amen. So well said. Let's go. I'm so glad you have energy because there is so much there that not only we can unpack, but like the point of impact. We are in a space in 2026 where we've got to find a way to connect to our people and get them to feel good and to where they're walking through this world and feeling good about themselves. And it really is the emotional and the mental really is a piece of it, but the physical also does matter. How we look. We live in a vain society and it matters. And the funny thing is people are like CrossFit, health and wellness, like you're fit, what have you. Being in this industry for 20 plus years, it's some of the most insecure humans you've ever seen in your world. They're beautiful, fit, ripped, what have you, but it's the pressures of existing within it. My fitness influencers, God bless, it's a really hard space to exist. And I promise you, people are shocked when I say it's some of the most insecure humans I've ever dealt with in my life. And I don't say that from a judgment standpoint. I say that from a point of empathy of kind of existing it myself. Thankfully, I'm on both sides. Like we keep the tequila close because I know I got to keep balance. But it's really a hard mental conversation. It's not always how it looks, and how people look isn't always how they feel. So I love that you guys just check all those boxes. And on that note, I want to talk now about number one, believing in yourself and having your own mental health conversation and saying, because it's hard to see some of these situations on the daily. You not only left a very cushy situation of 7 figures and you got insurance and all these things, you took out a $12 million loan. I know that exists, but as a woman, even in 2026 or 2025 or 2024, whatever happens, that's a big deal. Like women couldn't even get loans not that long ago. So $12 million, I just want to acknowledge that. That's huge. Like you had to have good credit. You had to do the work. Like you had to be out here to even do that. But tell us about how you even knew how to do some of this entrepreneurial process and really had the guts and, pun intended, the balls to take the leap.
Oh my God. All right, let's go. So okay. So I was employed by a very large health system, and I was actually recruited because I was in Baltimore, Maryland. I was one of the busiest bariatric surgeons in the United States, and a huge health system in the state of Florida did not have a bariatric program at their biggest mothership campus. They had 80 hospitals across the US, and the biggest one didn't have it. I was recruited. I went down there. I started it, replicated success. Everyone's happy. And I realized that my passion is about improving access to care. So bariatric surgery, there's so much behind the scenes about who's reimbursed, how they're reimbursed, how much they're reimbursed. There's such a discrepancy between what the surgeon gets paid, what the anesthesiologist or anesthesia provider gets paid, and then what the facility gets paid. There are two different facilities. There is either a hospital setting you could do the procedure in, or an ambulatory surgery center, an outpatient surgery center. And I realized that the cost in a hospital was so high that a lot of employers were basically excluding the benefit of having bariatric surgery. So it left hundreds of thousands, millions of Americans without coverage to get surgery when they have BMIs 35, 40, 45, 50, people who weigh hundreds and hundreds of pounds, have lots of health issues, can't get the care that they need. And it's discriminatory, it's insane, it's frustrating. And you have these conversations, but it really does unfortunately come down to the almighty dollar at the end of the day. So I went to the health system, and I was still pretty, I was happy, I was employed. And I said, listen, I think we need a strategy to move forward to really expand into an ASC setting so that we can offer what's called value-based care. High quality still, same players, same surgeons, same staff, but at a lower cost. And at the time, of course, the hospital administrators were like, yeah, not right now. Maybe we can revisit this in 2027. And this is back in 2022. So 5 years from now, let's talk again. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I resigned. I quit. And it was a moment of like, we're like, oh, how'd you know about the bank? I didn't. I had no idea. I had no idea where I would do this, how I would do this, how I get the money, any of the details. But I'm like, oh, I'll do a surgery center. I know how to do surgeries. Like I'm a surgeon. I'm not a business person. I'm not an entrepreneur. And I was like, I do that. And it was like, all right, well, basically go for it. So I realized that my husband is basically, he supports me in my crazy endeavors and make sure we don't go bankrupt, but he essentially is a stay-at-home dad. So I have the financial responsibility on my back for my entire family. And I think it's just, his belief in me. He is very risk averse. I'm very risk tolerant to be like, okay, I go for it. And ultimately just taking the leap and doing so. But I started out, and I will be honest, I try to get the help of a lot of men. I talked to a lot of ambulatory surgery center management companies that would normally take at least 51% so that you're the minority person. And I felt like it was putting on a different set of handcuffs. And at one of the conversations, I talked to private equity, I talked to venture capitalists, I talked to hospitals, I talked to other surgeons going in together, I talked to a lot of people. One person said, oh, honey, like don't you have like 3 kids? And they were not trying to be, I don't think they were trying to be derogatory or put me down, but it was like, this is hard. Like, just be a mom and just enjoy your life. And I think I was just like kind of snapped. And then I just went to the bank and I got a big loan. I got it backed by the SBA. And yeah, I have a lot on the line, but, we've been operational for about 9 months now. It's called the Surgical Institute of Central Florida. And we're doing it. And on the other side, I also opened up a med spa, and I brought my best friend from residency, who's a cosmetic surgeon. She does plastic surgery, body contouring after bariatric surgery and weight loss. And we have our own little ecosystem here where we're just chipping away at all of it. And we're trying to make this happen.
I love it so much. There's so much there. One main thing, I hope other doctors or medical professionals hear this, because it is about the dollar. And I'm not here as an entrepreneur to deny what's going on. But when you have something of like, how are we going to help our humans, and big decisions come down to money, it rips your heart away. So there is a better way. You can make it happen. It is the hard decision. That's why I champion humans like you, because it's not the easy path and you have to sacrifice a lot to quote unquote do the right thing. But I really hope other doctors and medical professionals hear your journey, hear your path, and have the guts to step out. And then consumers, humans out there, like seek out situations like yours and intentionally go see and put your dollar towards situations, institutions like this, because that's where we really do have that larger disruptive change. It's massive. The other side of that is the mental health in the community. You had your husband, let's give him a shout out. I watched some of
I
your
know, seriously. God
yeah,
love
your
him.
shout outs.
I call him, his name is Aaron. I call him the Big A. God love the Big A. I'll tell
Let's
you.
go. Dude, he is the big A because he's comfortable. I saw him sweating on one of your videos of like this building being built and like all the things. Like, you need community. Like, all of us out here taking risks and we're comfortable with it. You need your humans and your supportive situations behind the hands or behind the scenes. But the other part of that too is asking for help. I really champion you for going out there saying, here's what I'm going to do. I don't know all the answers. I never did as an entrepreneur. These are big risks. Go get intel and know when not to listen. Know when to walk away and say, this isn't for me. This isn't the coach, leader, professional that I need. You find somebody else. So even when you don't know, you were doing a lot right within that process. It's messy. And the third part of that I'll champion you on is humility. Like, you don't have to have all the answers. You can mess up. You can be wrong. You can answer the phones in the beginning. You don't have to have it all right. So there's my tangent of you checked all the boxes. Now you're in it. You're 9 months in. Tell me a little bit about some of the success stories or some of the things that happened that you didn't know were so profound and provided such deep impact, not only for your community, but for yourself.
Oh gosh. I mean, I'll tell you. So I opened up my practice, Body by Bariatrics, in 2023. And all the while I'm trying to build that business and get volume and patience, I had to have traction there because once this big building finally comes and we get the occupancy permit, boom, it's game time. So 2025 was when the ball dropped at midnight on 2025. I knew, like, okay, exciting year. Yeah, you're going to open. But I just knew about all it's going to be painful to get the inspections and to get, I mean, crazy stuff like traffic impact studies and calling the municipality and trying to negotiate and just getting like rates and inventory and personnel. And like, I can't even describe it. And I did underestimate it. I think every entrepreneur is like just optimistic to clearly sometimes the fault. Like, it's like, whoop, well, I'm in, I'm all in now. I've signed on the dotted line. Like, walking out of that was it was scary, but to say the least. But then it's just like every day, like forward progress. So what is the wins? The first surgery we did was on April 17th, 2025. And that is a day that I have done at this point almost 7,000 bariatric surgeries. And that surgery, at the end of it, I had a lot of people in the room from the, like some of the vendors to make sure like all the equipment was good. Like, this building was on a piece of dirt, and just the idea that you have a vision, you build it, you do all the things to make it like operational. You're doing an actual operation in this building that was just an idea on a napkin not all that long ago. And then everybody in the room like just clapped, and it was just like, just so overwhelming and emotional. I had like my right hand people, my dietitian, that employee number one right there. My partner did the surgery with me. My PA was like acting as the circulating nurse. Like, we literally like scrapping this thing together in all the most beautiful ways possible. And I think at the end of this year, now the ball's dropping into 2026, it's like, I did it. Like, you did it. And like, we're just getting started. Clearly, like, I got to do a lot more because I got to pay these bills. But I just think like sometimes you do have to just pause and appreciate the wins and what you are capable of. And that how you, like you said, like you know when to say no, when like that doesn't feel right. I have enough respect for myself and what I've done that like, no, I am the smartest person in the room on this one, and I'm not going to listen to you. And just because you label yourself as a business person doesn't mean I'm not even a better one. And I think there's a lot in that. And unfortunately, I don't think there's a lot of women that still have that kind of just, I'm going to burn it all down, but build it up even stronger mentality. And what I would love if someone's listening to this is, I'm just a girl with a rat tail from West Virginia. My friends, you can do it too. Like, why not?
Amen. And mullets are back. Rat tails might come back. You might have been ahead of the game
I was
this
ahead of
whole
my
time.
in the 80s. Shoot.
Maybe that's like the missing piece as a hairstylist within this whole situation. But amen. You said it so well. This whole like burn down. I say graceful disruption because I'm like you, or we run through the wall like the Kool-Aid man. But sometimes you can do it gracefully. Like, you don't have to run through the wall. You can do it with the right moves, with the right team, and also just with the right failure. Not all of this path is going to be laid out. Like, some of it you just have to learn the hard way, but it's going to be okay. And you just got to like stay in it and stay part of it.
Oh God,
Give
yeah.
us for my moms out there. I don't have kids. I
Yeah.
have three dogs. But do you have any wise words for our working female entrepreneurs that are also balancing things at home? You know, being a mom and being a wife.
Oh my gosh. Well, yes, I have so many thoughts on this. I think work-life balance is bogus and
Yeah.
ridiculous and is putting undue stress and anxieties on you that like no, you don't need that. I think there's work-life integration. I mean, one of my favorite things right out this window right here, there's a dumpster over my shoulder. Just watching my like 7-year-old like carrying out like cardboard boxes. It's like, man, like she's here, this is such a family affair. Hopefully at some point someday it might work for like generational wealth because hey, you deserve it too. You're right here in the nitty-gritty kind of start of it. But I think for, moms, obviously we hear all the time, like it's more about quality than being around. If you are a stay-at-home mom and you're around them a lot, like I give you ridiculous credit. Like I think
Yeah.
that that's a lot. And I think that, I don't know, I think because of social media, I think that again, society puts this like perfectly polished, highlight reel. There's literally called reels out there, which is nuts. I mean, I'm going to tell you what, I think it's totally fine to miss the ballet performance sometimes because you had to work and you are hopefully setting the example that they see that I have zero guilt about it. I do because I know that I am I'm putting out an example. They're watching no matter what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm having fun. I'll go to Disney with them. We live in Orlando. But if I have to work late and unfortunately miss some things, miss a bedtime, I'm not around. They know they have an army of people that love and support them. And it takes that. I mean, I have a housekeeper that also drives them to their swim team practices. My husband every day, like, you got them or do I got them? We have babysitters. We'll have we used to have au pairs that live with us from other countries. And I don't know. I don't think there's any shame in that. And like you can't do it all. You just can't
Yeah.
do it all. And that's okay. But you should do what you are passionate about and they'll see that, they'll feel that, and they'll love the time that they do get with you.
Amen. I know we always have this kind of like traditional take in society coming through social media or mainstream TV, what have you, of what something should look like. And there is no should look like anymore. There is no things. And I know I could never have done what I'm doing now or I'm gonna do like you. I feel like I'm just getting started with all the things on the resume. But all that started because I saw my mom as a strong woman doing, we grew up water
Ah,
skiing and she was barefooting like long line. I don't know if the people know what that is, but it's like all the guys were doing it. It's basically water skiing without skis. It's like so my mom was doing stuff that I saw that she didn't even know. She wasn't doing it to be like a strong female, blah, blah, blah. But like how I saw those things really made me who I am. So I know that your young humans, boys and girls, are seeing these things and they're drinking in way more than what people think. And it's changing their trajectory or impacting the way they're going to walk through their lives. So there is really no right way. And I have to champion you for putting it all out there. And social media has a lot of negatives and the pressure and everything. The upside is you can see the truth now. And I encourage people in professions like being a doctor that, they don't always feel comfortable showing the whole personal story. It's very uptight and like, this is how it should look. Tell me how you felt comfortable utilizing some of these things as entrepreneurs that I think are a major advantage. There's drawbacks to sharing it all, but also there's a major upside to telling the truth and holding space for other people that are in it. Why were you so comfortable or are so comfortable utilizing social media or getting on podcasts and sharing the whole story?
oh gosh, I think that people um oh gosh, there's a story where I was new. I had finished my residency and then I finished my fellowship and I got my first big girl job, like I said, in Baltimore. And there was a time when this was back in 2013, and the way that you got patients, I kind of naively thought that you would get just this whole list of patients and you just show up, oh, new surgeon, oh, your book of business is full. But like it didn't work like that. And there was another surgeon that I was joining there. And this guy had been there for a few years and they were doing about 200 surgeries a year, which for that time was great, all that. And so we would have to go and do an information session for interested patients in this like dimly lit hospital conference room where people would come in and they'd sit in the chairs and you give them a little PowerPoint. And then at the end of it, old pad and paper and pen would basically write down, okay, do you want to see, Dr. Dovec next week? And then you would hand write in when you're interested in having a consultation. So I had read like all these books, and I'm going to do a TED talk, and I'm going to do like this incredibly, like, I'm going to show them like I'm here, and here's the surgeries, here's all the details and all that. This is my pedigree, and this is why you should go with me. Well, that night, the first night, it was like July of 2013. This guy, he introduced me, and he was like, "Hi, I recognize some of you. Oh, hey, so and so. Um, I'm the medical director here. Welcome to everyone. And this is my new partner. Her name is Dr. Betsy Dovec, and she's never done one of these on her own before. So who's going to be your first victim?" Oh, I'm just kidding. Here's Dr. Dovec. And I was like, what? And everyone's like, and I gave this talk. I fumbled through it. I was awful. And then afterwards, we're standing like, bye, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. People are signing up and all that. And I got the papers, and I'm looking through it page after page. There were about 50 signups that night. Zero were for me.
Wow.
And this comes back to your question, in that I knew in that moment that I had to be myself. Like, I couldn't do this stiff PowerPoint wearing a business suit. I had to be who I was, and I had to meet people again on their level. So I would go to their boot camps. There was bariatric boot camp. I would go to that. I started a walk thing. We'd walk, we'd have conversations. I get to hear their stories. I'd listen to them. And then people were like, oh, I love you as a doctor. You get me. And I just started to really build my business. And I always put it all out there. I liked Instagram kind of as a consumer of it. Maybe it was my age at that time. I was like in my early 30s, and Instagram was like just coming, and I had a profile. And so if you look at the early years, if you go back, like I posted like 4,000 times or something, kind of frightening. But if you look at the early years, you'll be like, oh my God. And now we're doing like high def reels and all these things, but I put it there. I hopefully put some educational things, some really value packed tips. I put trending things, funny things, and personal things. I share anything and everything as it's happening to me. Again, just to try to be authentic. And I think that's important, because when you're trying to be something you're not, you're always going to feel very unsettled and anxious. And when you finally just kind of live free, you're like, pink, wear pink, whatever, who cares? Just who cares? Just post it, take the picture, post it, put it out there. If somebody doesn't like it, move on. Who cares?
Amen. I love this because it's so huge. And I do a lot of, coaching and whatnot. I tell people, I'm like, share the human behind the mission. There's nothing I can create as a great creative professional that's better than the truth and, the kind of the mess that we are as humans in general, but how we're figuring it out and how we can relate. And if you're going to make one of the biggest decisions of your life, major weight loss, major surgery, what have you, you want to do that with someone you can authentically relate to and can relate to you. And is a real human being. You're not just another procedure or a number on the table or whatever it is. This is someone that actually cares about you, and there's a community on the other side. So I really champion, I think this is the upside of our social media, but it takes someone special to be comfortable in it, particularly when you are in a male dominated space and you're showing some of these more like female related experiences. The great thing is in 2026, our consumers, our young people, but all people are looking at these options very differently, and they want a human. So I really congratulate you on that.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it.
Yes. Well, I want to make sure we cover this very, very clear. And we're kind of jumping back to where we started. But tell me again, if you're considering GLP-1s and you're considering the bariatric surgery, what is the difference between the two? And why is the bariatric surgery still like the most popular situation? I didn't think there were two situations that could be comparable, but like unpack that a little bit more. Is that a clear question there?
Yeah. So, I mean, so surgery is actually not popular. It is not popular. And I think it's from your earlier point about like the idea of it is like, what is it? Is it like the lap band? Is it like my 600-pound life? Like, do you have to get like cut out of a house to be able to be like transported to Dr. Now down in Texas? Like, that is not the reality. So those who qualify for it, you would look at it and be like, oh, I don't really, I didn't either realize I qualified for it, because the BMI is now they recommend above 30, you can get it. And it's more of a metabolic procedure. So there's different types. There's gastric bypass, there's sleeve gastrectomy, highly effective. They're the most effective way of losing weight and keeping it off. So if you do struggle with the disease of obesity, think about a bariatric surgery. But here's the stat on it, which is just still mind-boggling to me after being in this and trying to raise awareness and access and all these things is that of all the people that qualify for bariatric surgery, less than 1% get it. And
Mm.
a lot of that, again, comes down to cost, insurance coverage, just ignorance, fear. I don't want to do this. My partner doesn't want me to do this. This seems so radical. I don't want to undergo a procedure for it. But, it's like one of those other things, like if you have a condition, like God forbid, cancer or high blood pressure, you're going to take the meds, you're going to do the operation, you're going to do what it takes to help put your disease in remission or even completely resolve it. And that's what it is as a bariatric surgeon. I help people get their hope back. I help them to feel intimate with their partner, to do these things we call non-scale victories, NSVs. You can travel more comfortably. You don't need a seatbelt extender. You can buy clothes off the rack. You can fit on that roller coaster ride. You can feel confident in your skin. I think there's so many considerations. Again, of course, the health benefits, the wealth benefits. It's been shown that, yeah, you're probably going to have further your education more. You're likely going to earn more. There's still bias around weight. Unfortunately, there's a big stigma around it. And I think surgery, especially if you do it when you're younger, it can change the entire trajectory of your entire life. And I've seen it. I've done it. 250,000 Americans get it a year, but it should be so, so, so much more.
Oh, so well said. I love it, and I love all, like I said, this whole human approach we touched on throughout this conversation of how it takes a village, it takes some intel. You need to advocate for yourself, you need to make the right decisions for you specifically, and you need to go to the right place to do it. So you're checking so many boxes, and I hope this conversation just is enough for people to go to see who you are, what you're doing, and then go get into more. Like, go watch the videos, go see there. I mean, there's a lot more we can get into, but I hope this just like sheds enough light if you're considering GLP-1s or bariatric surgery, or you're just looking for a health and wellness community, that this, just lights a spark to question and ask, some deeper, larger questions on what the next step is. I have a lot more questions, but we'll be mindful of your time and what you have going on. Tell us, where do we find you? Where's the podcast, websites, Instagram, anything you want to share?
Yeah, so our big website is bodybybariatrics.com. So like you said, we do bariatric surgery, we do all virtual pre-op workup, lifelong follow-up care. We also do virtual medical weight loss consults for anyone. We do, of course, prescribe. We work with insurance. So we try to get you that insurance approval, that authorization. But we also we do prescribe compounded versions as well from a very reputable, safe pharmacy. So the generic equivalent of the meds, we can get them to you at a pretty good cost as well. We have things like Project Reset. We are actually having a huge retreat coming up. Kristen, I would love it if you came. It's on May
Okay.
1st and 2nd, and I would love it. I will comp your ticket if you are interested in this whole thing.
Okay,
It's
we'll
going to
check it
be
out.
here in Orlando, Florida. It's called Body by Transformation. So on our website is bodybybariatrics.com/body by transformation. It's right there also on the homepage of bodybybariatrics.com. And this is a personal development retreat journey. It's all things anyone who wants to just do better. It is, again, health, wealth. It's about kind of visualizing your best self and how do you like just manifest it, imagine it, just will it into existence. And I think we don't allow ourselves enough time to pause and do that. The theme is the butterfly effect, and it's about how every small little change in your life could really just ultimately make such a big life altering impact. And I think honestly today, even just coming on this podcast, I know like I love your energy. I love meeting you. I know that we're going to connect and we could collab in bigger and probably even more exciting ways. But not only that, people who are listening, I hope that this is your your soundbite, whatever it is, that if you're thinking about it, you don't have to feel almost like shamed, like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that or the meds or what have you. Am I big enough? Am I sick enough? Am I old enough? Am I young enough? Like all of that kind of narrative. Like if you want it, if you think it might be for you, explore it, discover it. And if it is great, if not, hey, at least you tried. And I think that that's what I want people to hopefully get from our conversation. I'm also on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Dr. Dovec, Drdovec, all one word. But we're everywhere else, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram as Body by Bariatrics. So check us out. And yeah, we would love the opportunity to take care of you or even just say hi.
Amen. Look at that. Bang, bang, bang. I love it so much. Well, I have one question. We didn't even get into accessibility, but I love that you do that. So gold star there. That's huge, particularly in insurance. We touched a little bit on the money. Um, but the spirituality, can you give us just
Yes.
a quick note on, because again, Eastern, Western, some people get uncomfortable. This is why I love the in between of both sides. Tell me a little bit about your faith, spirituality, manifesting this, how this is very clearly part of the recipe.
I think that everything, back to the earlier success of, how did you do the surgery center? The universe was on my side, whether it was the universe, God, the woo, I don't know, whatever higher power, there was something that was at play. I can't even tell you how many unbelievable moments that almost occurred that at the last second, like shifted my focus. And I'm like, that would have been almost disastrous to the entire thing if I would have gone that direction. Like, oh my gosh. And I almost leased a building that they were going to shut down. And because I was just leasing it, not owning it, I wouldn't have had any long-term say in it. That was not the way to go. I almost signed to get in bed with, a private equity firm, which would have been absolutely horrific. Like there's so many different things. And so the spirituality aspect, I really think is again, like just this butterfly effect, just this idea that there's always going to be little hints, little things, little signs that you need to take very seriously. They're very intentionally put in your path for a reason. And I think if you follow them, you'll experience just your overall sense of just well-being and calmness, that you're doing the right thing, and it's going to go and just going to bubble over into your success. And I think also surround yourself with like-minded people who do believe in the power of manifestation, because your success will be their success. And I think when you're financially rewarding those around you who believe in you, believe in the mission, who leave their comfortable positions as well to join you, I think there's something really powerful and synergistic in that as well. So I'm all here for the spiritual aspect of it. And yeah, it's a huge part of what we do, and why I really do believe that we are the best. So I think
Let's
it's part
go.
of it.
If you don't bleed it, no one else will. I don't know if you should say that in a doctor setting. Maybe it's a different analogy we should use, but it's the truth. I
Yes.
think you got to be the blade. I'm in my T&T all the time because, like I said, if I don't walk in it, why should anyone else? But I also love that, like science, board certified, medical, whatever. Like you can also believe in the intangibles and just like the energy that we can't see, which is actually science. But I don't want to go in that rabbit hole. My final question that I ask everybody, and I'm very curious to hear what you have to say because you've reached such high points at this point. What is success to you? What's exciting now for this new year?
Oh gosh. For I think what I would love is that joy factor, that those moments of kind of euphoria. I just went on a trip to Anguilla and also St. Martin, and I just went
Hey.
with my husband, so the kids were at home, and again, I had no guilt about that. And I think just like looking out into the sunset, practicing gratitude, feeling accomplished. I do think that directly linked to happiness and joy is a bigger sense of purpose, that I like, how do I just keep making an impact in the world, and my skills, my talents, the things that were, given to me to hopefully just make a difference. And how do you quantify that? Yes, you could say is by treating or helping more people, having retreats, getting bigger, always trying to spread the word, become more visible in this specialty and into this walk. But really just, I think, boy, like when somebody comes up to me and says like, hey, doc, thanks for saving my life. I think that that is the absolute bottom line definition of success.
Let's go. I'm so excited to see what is in front of you in the new year as a doctor, as a leader. And with this, a lot of it I think does look glamorous, but with great power comes great responsibility, all the cliches, and it's a heavy load to carry. So again, I champion you, and I'm also excited. Like, I'm with you. I feel like we're just getting started. 2026 is the year of the horse. So shit's about to pop off. I know.
Yep.
It's going to be good, but go check out Dr. Betsy Dovec. She's doing so many Dovec, excuse me, doing so many great things, and the whole human approach, like all parts of it. So go check her out where she's going. I want to give a thank you to our sponsors, Declan James Watches, local and veteran owned, Colorado Clownfish Swim School, swim lessons and water safety training for all ages. They believe in life skills through sports. So go check them out. You can get us wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be everywhere on YouTube. Like my girl here, you can find us anywhere and everywhere on the internet, but we will see you soon. Again, Betsy, thank you for joining us. And everybody, let's choose to level up in this new year. Have a great week, and we will see you soon. Cheers.
Thanks again. Bye, guys.
Thank you for joining Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.